My career before Vice Grip Garage is kind of hard to explain, but the phrase "I'll be dipped" actually goes celebrity crush.
Through his tenacity, humor, and unwavering resolve, the magnetic gearhead Derek Bieri amassed an enormous fan base as the host of Vice Grip Garage. Strange things have been happening recently, though, with fans reporting things like missing uploads, mysterious messages, and a change in presence. What transpired with Derek then? Is something more fundamental occurring behind the scenes, or did burnout strike? Our investigation into the riddle underlying one of YouTube's most popular mechanics has taken us on a journey filled with unexpected turns and personal struggles. Get ready to be amazed by the answers. Derek Bieri stands out by doing the polar opposite in a society where everything appears to center around flawless beauty and shiny new objects. Derek gets his hands dirty fixing old, rusted automobiles that no one else would touch, even though most people would rather buy brand-new, immaculate cars. He brings them screaming back to life with a combination of sheer emotion, drive, and a collection of ancient tools that have obviously seen their share of fights. Not only can Derek mend automobiles, but he also gives new life to long-dead tales, memories, and technologies. Derek has created something far more than just a YouTube channel and a company as the brains behind Vice Grip Garage, a movement that values perseverance, diligence, and the value of being flawed has been ignited by him. The journey that started in frigid Minnesota garages is now taking place in the warmer hills of Tennessee. However, relocating wasn't about going after more stardom or fan bases. The theme revolved around living in harmony with one's core principles. Tennessee, then? It wasn't an arbitrary decision for Derek and his family. In addition to a more agreeable temperature, they were looking for a spot where they could devote more time to restoring vintage vehicles, creating cherished family moments, and going at their own speed. Their aspirations resounded in the slower, more grounded way of life in Tennessee, and the warm weather allowed them to work on vehicles all year round. It wasn't only about automobiles. It was also about independence, loved ones, and naturally, sufficient gasoline. The issue is, though, that Derek's trip is about more than simply moving in automobiles. There's a lot more meat to the story about following your heart and refusing to give up on the things that give your life meaning. There is a silent narrative of perseverance in every vehicle he restores. And by doing so, Derek gives hope to tens of thousands of people who doubt their own abilities to rebuild, whether it be engines or lives. Derek Bieri has proven with Vice Grip Garage that cutting-edge equipment and $1 million setup are not prerequisites for greatness. All you really need is some guts, some elbow grease, and the bravery to forge your own path, despite its imperfections and overgrowth. In between oil changes, Derek teaches us life lessons or cranks up an old, dusty Chevy. Whatever the case may be, the finest adventures aren't always the easiest. Rather, they're the ones that leave you filthy, exhausted, but completely satisfied. On Vice Grip Garage, what does Derek Bieri do? Why is his work on Vice Grip Garage unique? What motivates him to always pursue his passion? We'll have to see. In an age where flawless perfection and immediate gratification are the standard, Vice Grip Garage is an oasis of authenticity on YouTube. A genuine treasure isn't necessarily brand new or sparkly. This is a reminder of that. Rather, it can be found coated in rust, obscured by dust, or left abandoned in a field. But these long-lost artifacts aren't merely turned into functional automobiles by the hands of one man, Derek Bieri. Their resurrection is marked by genuine emotion, hilarious dialogue, and an unwavering faith in the power of second chances. Derek takes a more human approach. He saves engines, not just fixes them. He has a gift for storytelling in addition to fixing automobiles. Resilience, imagination, and perseverance are the hallmarks of any successful comeback. As a whole, it's a subtle protest against our fast-paced, disposable culture. Working hard, getting your hands filthy, and restoring damaged machinery can still yield profound rewards, as Derek demonstrates. How is it that it captivates? Not only is it satisfying to hear an old engine rev up after years of dormancy, but there are other aspects as well. Hope is what it is. the possibility that there is still life in something that appears to have passed its prime. With each vehicle he handles, a tale unfolds. And Derek revitalizes both the old metal and the spectator's spirits with his sweat, laughter, and the odd wayside food. There are millions of viewers, and they come from all walks of life. Gearheads aren't everyone. A few are naive idealists who need to see evidence that their dreams can come true. That function may be concealed in the most incongruous of locations, such as behind a tarp in a barn, in the middle of a junkyard, or inside an abandoned project vehicle. Whether it's a car, a dream, or even a part of ourselves, Derek shows us that sometimes all it takes is a little TLC to make it shine again. Vehicles are simply one part of Derek's adventure. Making daring decisions is key. Regarding taking a risk by relying on your own narrative rather than following the conventional wisdom. He's a live example of how anyone can take an idea from the drawing board to a roaring success with determination, humor, and guts. Whether you're carrying a paintbrush, a wrench, or even just the fragments of an idea you've been too afraid to pursue, let Derek's narrative serve as your spark. Grasp the task at hand. Go headfirst into that interest project. You can do the same thing if he can give new life to the long-forgotten. Just a single bolt. Just one spark. In little, manageable chunks. Many appear to have a deeper admiration for the 40-year-old as he continues to demonstrate his skill and brilliance. What good is he doing with his unique skill set? We should examine Derek Bieri's content types. Derek Bieri has the rare ability to transform an old, neglected vehicle into a show-stopping work of art. And he does it all as the world watches on television. If you find joy in seeing vintage vehicles given new life, you will adore Derek's YouTube channel. Restoring vintage automobiles is one of Derek's most intriguing hobbies. He does more than simply give them a once-over. He gives long-dead devices a fresh lease of life. An excellent illustration of this is a video he uploaded in 2022, in which he revives an automobile that had lain abandoned for more than 2 decades. People are captivated by these car revivals, as seen by the almost 3.5 million views that one video alone received. Even high-end repairs aren't Derek's specialty. Affordable construction is another one of his strengths. He purchased a battered Chevrolet Monza racing car in 2019. He restored it to driving condition without spending a fortune thanks to his ingenuity, expertise, and plain old-fashioned hard work. By completing these projects, Derek proves to his audience that one need only possess the necessary skills and unwavering resolve in order to construct something truly remarkable. The Automobile Rescue series is another important component of Derek's material and a favorite among his fans. He loves to find old cars that people have forgotten about or that have been left in barns and fields to rust. For example, in 2021 he salvaged a 1968 Buick LeSabre for a project. Seeing him restore that old automobile is like seeing the rebirth of a long-lost artifact from our past. His enthusiasm is infectious and shows in all of his videos. Who, therefore, is going to watch this? Individuals between the ages of 18 and 45 make up the most of Derek's viewership. They tend to be vehicle enthusiasts, or at least inquisitive about the enchantment of restoration. The American audience makes up a large portion of Derek's viewership, but the allure of his show's transformations and meticulous workmanship allows him to attract people all around the world. Many of his fans are avid YouTube viewers, especially those with a penchant for DIY projects, learning new skills, and discovering unique uses for old objects. In sum, Derek Bieri's channel is about a lot more than simply vehicles. It's also about overcoming problems, finding passion, and giving new life to old things. Derek provides material that is both amusing and motivating, whether you are interested in antique bikes, want to know how to construct on a budget, or simply like a good comeback story. Still, many have pondered the question of how he acquired such an unusual talent for solving problems. Did he naturally possess these abilities? Or did he learn the processes involved in these repairs as a child? Now that we know what the garage is for, let's investigate its motivations. Without a privileged upbringing or an abundance of resources, Derek Bieri had to work his way up, honing his abilities through sheer determination and perseverance. Derek grew up on a farm in Minot, North Dakota, where he learned early on that broken objects were still useful. You didn't freak out when a piece of equipment broke down in the field. Instead, you mended it. No matter how stubborn a component was, you always managed to get it to budge. The way things were done was simply that. Practical problem solvers have always been in Derek's life. He inherited not only practical talents but also a mindset from his father and grandfather, who were the type of guys who believed in making do with what you had. They instilled in him the values of perseverance, reliance on his hands as much as his brain, and the ability to create something from nothing. As a youngster, Derek had no trouble welding, fabricating, or giving old, wrecked cars a new lease of life. However, he did not acquire this knowledge from a textbook. Rather, it was the result of countless hours spent in the garage, a never-ending process of trial and error, and a fair amount of bruised knuckles. Despite Derek's talent, he was sidetracked for a spell. He followed the herd and got a job in corporate America, trading in his coveralls for a suit, just like many others who wanted to play it safe. He clocked in, went to meetings, and did the so-called secure thing every day. However, he never really let go of his inner country boy who reveled in wrenching. Its incessant hum, its stench of oil, and the task of reviving the dead, it never failed to beckon to him. Derek realized he couldn't put it off any longer in 2007. He began recording himself restoring ancient automobiles that others had given up on using a simple camera. A beat-up car, a garage full of tools, and an infectious enthusiasm. That was his setup. He avoided being showy. There was no scripting or sugarcoating on his part. It was purely sincere labor, and the public took note. Taking on a 1969 Camaro Z28, which appeared to be in bad shape, was his break. Derek breathed new life into the imperfect automobile, and the audience couldn't get enough. Nothing but genuine, heartfelt repair took place. There were no tricks or fancy effects, and that was the very thing that set it apart. Derek Bieri has gone from being a camera-wielding car guy to becoming a symbol of the power of following one's heart, no matter how difficult the path may be. Many would say that Derek experienced the American dream for a while. He rose rapidly through the ranks of the company while dressed sharply and making regular appearances at crucial meetings. He shook hands in boardrooms and had posh employment titles. It appeared to be a success from the outside. However, internally, uneasy was Derek. An individual yearning for something more authentic and less formal lurked beneath the surface of the man wearing power ties and dress shirts. The smell of engine oil and the excitement of twisting wrenches were more stimulating to him than office politics and fluorescent lights. As his co-workers unwinded with a Netflix binge, Derek toiled away in his garage with a collection of vintage engines and corroded nuts. He sensed a surge of energy there. Where anxiety dissipated and determination resounded loud and clear was at that moment. Advancing in his career was not important to him. All he wanted was to be connected, to tales, to technology, and to those who understood him. A daring choice followed in 2018. Derek left the security of his corporate job and a regular income to pursue an unknown but profoundly important dream. He gave up the boardroom for a battered garage and coveralls for his briefcase. There wasn't a group of marketing strategists or a comprehensive plan. All he needed was a camera, some enthusiasm, and the desire to share his hobby of restoring classic vehicles. Without any sort of strategic strategy or blueprint, Vice Grip Garage sprang into being. Instead than focusing on the flashy million-dollar Ferraris shown on other auto networks, Derek gave attention to the underappreciated. He recovered dusty family sedans and rust buckets of muscle vehicles. Perfection wasn't his aim. Resurrection was. He had a viral video, an unpolished restoration of a Z28 Camaro from 1969. The road was anything from smooth and the vehicle was a total wreck. Derek was honest about the times he messed up, had failures, and had concerns late at night. And it is precisely the reason for its potency. Not only did they watch, they engaged with it. Derek's combination of modesty, practical knowledge, and comedy was contagious. People saw a regular person in the show, not only a master mechanic trying to figure things out, making mistakes, but ultimately succeeding. When that engine roared back to life, they rejoiced with him, laughed with him, and learnt from him. The channel went boom. In flooded the subscribers. Derek built more than simply information. He built a community, a haven where dreamers, mechanics, and automobile enthusiasts might go to learn about the world around them and be reminded that the risks you take to pursue your passions are always worth it. The story of Derek serves as a reminder that, even in a perfection-obsessed culture, there is beauty in the chaos, and that taking the less beaten path may occasionally lead to greater fulfillment. A quick glance into Derek Bieri's background will reveal where he obtained his special gift. Among automotive aficionados all across the globe, Derek Bieri stands out as the creator of the viral YouTube series Vice Grip Garage. Derek reached a significant milestone in 2024, marking not just his age but also decades of commitment to his trade. He was born on May 16, 1984. Derek, arms curled up and wrench in hand, has made a name for himself in the world of vintage automobiles by giving long-forgotten vehicles a second chance at life via his enthusiasm, determination, and sense of humor. The beginning of Derek's narrative is what makes it so captivating. He was born and raised in Minot, a little town nestled in North Dakota, USA. It wasn't Minot per se that sparked his interest in vintage automobiles, but the surrounding farms. Derek had an innate knack for mechanics thanks to his upbringing in a rural environment where tools and manual labor were commonplace. When I was a kid growing up on a farm, we fixed things ourselves in the barn, using what little tools and money we had. His lifetime passion, budget-friendly restoration of historic automobiles, was nurtured by this hands-on upbringing. Derek has an uncanny ability to sense promise in the most unlikely of places, whether it's in rusted, non-running trucks or abandoned classic muscle cars. The most exciting aspect? He doesn't only repair the cars. On Vice Grip Garage, he records the entire process, taking viewers along for the ride as he fixes. Even when the engine won't turn over or the wiring is a hot mess, his films teach viewers to think imaginatively, solve difficulties, and keep going. Even though Derek doesn't talk much about his family or his personal connections, it's obvious that his childhood had a significant impact on him. His humility, work ethic, and charisma all stem from his humble upbringing in the countryside. His work is approachable for both newcomers and longtime gearheads, since he is neither showy nor excessively technical. Instead, he uses basic language, sprinkled with comedy, to explain topics. Derek Bieri is a storyteller, problem solver, and guy who transforms rust into screaming engines. He is more than just a YouTuber or mechanic. He stands as more than simply 41. His remarkable rise from humble beginnings as an agricultural youngster in North Dakota to his current position as a highly esteemed automotive content developer is a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and imagination. Anyone who loves cars, wants to be a do-it-yourselfer, or just loves a good underdog narrative will like Derek's world. Can you tell me about his family life? It has always been believed that he would not have achieved this level of success without the unwavering support of his family. Let's explore his family tree in depth. In Vice Grip Garage, every engine has a tale to tell, and that story has much to do with more than just bolts and horsepower. Loyalty, love, and the excitement of giving old, neglected machinery new life are the glue that hold this garage together. But it's not just one guy behind the wheel. It's an entire family. Although Derek is the one most people recognize, his wife Jessica is a silent but no less powerful figure behind the scenes. However, to say she is only a supporter would be an understatement. Many of their construction projects remain on schedule because of Jessica, who is the steadying influence amongst all the upheaval and the mastermind behind their life management system. With deft accuracy, she manages logistics, has a healthy work-life balance, and every once in a while dons the gloves to help out beneath the hood. She may not be the center of attention all the time, but without her, the dream would not go nearly as well. And then there's Bentley, the most energetic and youthful member of the family who happens to be a gearhead. His own rapidly growing YouTube channel, Little Grip Garage, is proof that he's got fire in his blood. One thing is evident when one watches Bentley ride a dirt bike or fiddle with his go-kart. The enthusiasm is hereditary, not merely transmitted. He clearly has a vision for the family garage's future, and his energy is contagious. The equipment they restore are exceptional, but the memories they make along the way are what really set the Bieri family apart. Every endeavor creates a memory, whether it's restoring a muscle car together, laughing through a late-night parts run, or just watching Bentley learn about engines. With each spark and turn of the wrench, they are doing more than simply mending old automobiles. They are making tales, creating traditions, and leaving behind something valuable. Nothing here like a film set or a staged show. Above all else, it's relatable because it's honest and genuine. Vice Grip Garage is refreshing in an age of expensive auto shows and overproduced reality TV because it illustrates that the greatest builds don't occur in a workshop alone, but rather through the unflinching solidarity of a family. Indeed, vehicles are the focus of Vice Grip Garage. Connection is also important, relating to the need of persevering through broken aspirations. About passing on knowledge and principles piece by piece. A story of knuckles getting bruised and engines getting repaired to the sound of laughing resonating through the garage. They have no desire for stardom. Their quest is enthralling because they are pursuing fulfillment. It is motivated by a purpose. I'm very into it. Plus, the strength behind it all comes from the family. If not material wealth and comfort, then what does success mean to Derek? Do you mean passes of expensive cars? Will it be affluent mansions? We'll have to see. Nobody sits behind a glass desk or wears ties when Derek Bieri is in charge. It doesn't whiz by pristine briefcases and posh boardrooms. Success, on the other hand, is like an old engine revving up again, smells like oil, feels like calloused hands, and sounds great. The subtle joy of reviving an item that most others had given up on is where Derek finds his inspiration. He is not for social standing, but rather after something more fundamental and primal: independence. Derek may be found on dusty road journeys around the United States, retrieving old rust buckets from fields, barns, and other abandoned places. Waiting for someone insane enough to think they can run again, they are more than simply cars. They're stories with wheels. Derek is the one. He finds promise where others see trash. He revives machinery and takes people on an adventure with just a toolbox, a camera, and an unfaltering sense of humor. However, mechanical skill isn't Derek's secret sauce, something more unusual and human-like. Regardless of the amount, he makes do with what he has. The tough aspects aren't something he hides, rather, he generously reveals them. He admits everything: the hardships, the failures, the times when things don't work out. Minimal scripts, absence of filters. No fluff, just honest labor and true tales. That candor, though? Yes, it is potent. Not only do millions of people watch to witness vintage engines start, but they also see a person who looks just like them. Someone who isn't scared to roll with the punches, who can laugh at his own shortcomings, and who just won't give up. There is so much pretension in our society that Derek's unfiltered, genuine lifestyle is refreshing. A bond, not only automobiles, is what he is constructing. His garage is more than just a location to work. It's a hub for a group of people who prioritize hard work and humility above showmanship. A subtle message is contained in each carburetor that he repairs. Few resources are sufficient to create significant art. A little bit of guts, some basic equipment, and the will to start are all that's needed. For Derek Bieri, the definition of a decent life is being rewritten. He's proving that material wealth and celebrity status aren't necessary conditions for success. Doing what makes you happy, sharing that joy with other people, and being authentic may sometimes lead to success. His story exemplifies how, when two people's passions unite for a common goal, the outcome transcends mere popularity. they make a difference. A pursuit of legacy drives Derek while others want opulence. He exemplifies the value of taking one's time to do something well, to restore the glory in something that was nearly lost in today's hectic world. It might be the true definition of success. While he was constructing his legacy, Derek, like everyone else on Earth, encountered obstacles. Did he just surrender or did he fight till the end? Let's go into the challenges that Derek overcame on his way to leaving a lasting legacy. Through adversity, chasing success, and leaving a lasting impression. There were technical and personal challenges at every bend on Derek's path. Not every obstacle on the path to achievement was smooth sailing. Amidst the many obstacles he had to overcome, rumors circulated like wildfire on the internet. The most absurd of them started with a harmless video clip in which Derek playfully called a vehicle the lawsuit. Some saw this as a sign that he was inviting legal problems, and soon enough rumors began to circulate. But there was nothing substantial about it, just meaningless chatter that soon died down, despite all the hubbub. But not every obstacle Derek faced was founded on hearsay. His property was targeted in a far more significant and disturbing event when an expensive carburetor was taken. Theft of this kind worried Derek and his community since it was an act of personal aggression. He was taken aback by the support he received from the Vice Grip Garage family. They came together as a community and put up a $55,000 reward for information leading to the heist. Many of Derek's fans had grown to see him as more than simply a content provider. They had become friends and looked up to him as a mentor, and the outpouring of support demonstrated this. In spite of all that happened, Derek kept his focus on the things that were important to him: his loved ones, his love of workmanship, and the legacy he was creating. Behind the scenes, his wife Jessica did a lot of important work to keep things running well. While she may not have received much recognition, her contributions were vital to the success of Vice Grip Garage. They inculcated a love of problem-solving in their children by surrounding them with tools, motors, and the like. Little Grip Garage was the name of the YouTube channel that the youngest of their sons created, where he chronicled his personal experiences in the auto repair industry, continuing the path that his father had cleared. Derek was not only passing on his abilities, but also a way of thinking, one that valued education, repair, and innovation. One bolt at a time, the torch was being passed down from one generation to the next. An enormous task that put Derek's abilities, patience, and perseverance to the test followed, marking a turning point in his career. An ancient 1979 Fox body Mustang that had been in a Kentucky barn for almost 20 years was the starting point. It was an automobile that many would have written off as hopeless, its days long gone. Whereas others saw rust, Derek saw possibilities. An impending snowfall, the car's lack of operation in years, and the fact that he had just one day to revive it were all working against him. The weather was also working against him, and he was racing against the clock. The next thing he knew, he was in the thick of a fight, a mental and physical test that put his mechanical skills to the test. The Mustang resembled something out of a horror movie. Its fuel system was in a sorry state, and some sections had seized or corroded. However, Derek remained unfazed. He approached each challenge with the precision of an experienced surgeon. He persisted in the face of technical difficulties and frigid conditions. He rewired the vehicle, fine-tuned the ignition, and methodically repaired each part that needed it. He labored tirelessly for hours until he succeeded in starting the engine, reviving the Mustang. But there was something far more significant at the heart of Derek's triumph than mending an automobile. The point was to show himself and his supporters that things can always be fixed, no matter how bad they seem. This was more than a technical victory. It was a moving testament to the strength of perseverance, will, and the capacity to prevail against insurmountable odds. It was a turning point in Vice Grip Garage's history, representing Derek's unwavering dedication to his work, his loved ones, and his legacy. Is Derek Bieri's stint in the limelight something you can get behind? Please share your opinions with us in the space provided. Please subscribe and like the video.